Once again, we're back. We've had technical difficulties, and David Hayward is such an awesome guest. We're not going to go through all the cartoons that we were going to go through tonight, but we are going to have him back. But we want to get him to share various things with us right now, simply because if we do have some more difficulties, I don't want people to forget that you do have a community, if I'm not mistaken, that people can visit.
Yeah, actually, it's the Naked Pastor is sort of a kick the hornet's nest kind of a site. It's a troublemaking site. Like we've already been talking about, my cartoons are sort of stirring things up. And if you read the comments on Naked Pastor, you need some balls to get on there and make some comments, because you're going to get, there's a lot of arguing and back and forth. So it's very intense. Naked Pastor is a very intense site, and something was missing for me. I can be nice, and I like to hang out with people, and I miss that. So and also I was noticing a lot of people were transitioning. They found my cartoons and stuff kind of helpful. And we're transitioning away from a more conservative, traditional, evangelical, whatever, or even transitioning away from faith, or transitioning away from church, and we're needed help, needed support. And so I started an online community. It's called thelastingsupper.com, and there's over 300 members so far, all over the place, all over the world, mostly in the United States, of course, there's just an amazing diversity of people, from people who are in the church struggling to stay to atheists who've left or who've never been, and everybody in between. And what's really cool about the group is that they're very supportive of one another. They can just express themselves, they can rant or whatever. We listen before we speak, and they're a lot of fun. And I've just fallen in love with these people, and it just continues to grow. Yeah, I thought it was going to be me, but actually it's the community helping people transition and providing support for people who are transitioning spiritually.
It's awesome.
So yeah, it's just, so I want to invite people. I warmly invite you, if you're feeling lonely and you need support, or you're looking for some way to figure this out, because I know myself, leaving the church, leaving the ministry, was brutal. It was brutal. It was a brutal couple of years, and I needed help. And but now I've got this online community. They become my friends, my peeps. So it's a really awesome group. So I invite you if you want.
All right, that's thelastingsupper.com.
Yeah, lastingsupper.com.
That sounds marvelous, wonderful. And you have a blog site as well that you can elaborate on some of the hot button issues and your cartoons as well. Can you give us that?
You mean the Naked Pastor?
Isn't it the Naked Pastor blog /
It's nakedpastor.com will get you there.
Okay,
but
and then
actually it's under the Pathos umbrella.
There you go.
It's part of the Pathos network.
Okay.
So it's pathos.com/blog/Naked Pastor. But if you Google Naked Pastor, it'll take you there. No problem.
I bet it will. Okay, we have some comments, and I know Esther Ann will strangle me if I don't
yeah.
Yeah, she's a huge fan. And so is our dear friend Joanne Basil. She really admires you, and I want to give her a shout out and let her know how much we love her. Okay, we have some comments. First of all, Joshua Stevens says, I dig the Sophia stuff.
Oh.
Can you give us something on that? We know what Sophia means, in Christianese or the Greek language, but you have tagged Sophia as a female fictional character.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
what's
it's
behind that?
Okay, I'll try to give you the thumbnail version. Before I left the church, I've been an artist for many years, but I painted these very kind of moody, melancholy, kind of watercolor paintings of landscapes, really kind of pretty, colorful kind of things. And but when I left the ministry, one day I was just drawing, and I drew this little girl holding up her teddy bear to this huge grizzly bear, and I thought, what the heck is that? Like, it was almost like, you know, I was just doodling, and this, I drew this picture, and anyway, I just continued to draw this girl or young woman, either one, in these different situations. And after a while, I discovered that actually I was documenting through drawings my own spiritual journey away from captivity and away from feeling trapped in the institution and so on, and theologically being confined. And then the Sophia picture shows her out in the wilderness and so on. And it just sort of documented my journey. So yeah, Sophia means wisdom. It's the Greek word for wisdom. And it's represented by a woman, sort of, you know, Carl Jung's theory that, you know, the anima is the female aspect of the man and the animus is the male aspect of the woman. But so it's just sort of my inward journey away from captivity and feeling trapped. And so I've actually drawn over 52 drawings of Sophia, and I'm in the process right now of sort of writing a graphic novel of her story. So
That's
yeah,
great.
thanks for bringing that up. I forgot about Sophia. She really appeals to a lot of women who are in feel like they're in constricted or feel trapped in some way or another. It might not just be religion; it could be in a relationship or whatever. And for many people, this has helped them find the courage to take a step towards their own freedom and liberate themselves. So it's kind of a cool story. I'm looking forward to telling it.
Great. I can't wait to read it.
You also have a T-shirt that I would like for them to throw up on screen. It's called Atheist.
Yeah.
And what motivated you to put this together?
Because
Awesome.
I was frequently asked, are you an atheist? Like, I get people saying, come on now, come out of the closet, you're an atheist. And then, you know, atheists are like, oh, come on, you're not an atheist, you're a Christian. You know, so I kind of am, if it's not obvious by now, I'm very reluctant to take on any labels at all. But I decided one day that I could be called atheist. So I created the atheist T-shirt. You know, the atheist symbol is usually the capital A with the circle around it. Well, I did a small a with the circle around it and just wrote atheist across it. And, you know, I'd wear it. That sort of describes where I am. I'm kind of atheist, but, you know, not full-on atheist, even though I do have a very strong atheist streak in me. But, yeah.
So people can buy this T-shirt on your Etsy site?
No, that's on...
No? Uh-oh.
Actually, that's on Cafe Press, I think. Yeah. Cafe Press.
Okay, gotcha. Cafe Press. All right, we have a few more comments. Esta Ann says, she, speaking of Sophia, is very wise, pun intended.
Yeah.
And she also says, each church has its corporate type of confirmation bias, and that she saw David's cartoons first in Sacred Union, Sacred Passions. It was a cross-gender friendship community.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she first was introduced to your cartoons. And
There's a cartoon there somewhere, by the way. You got to have a cartoon someday that's called Confirmation Bias. That's going to be awesome.
yes.
I don't know what that would be very.
And Bill Langell, he says, no agenda. He is of God. And then a person, I'm not sure of their handle here, he or she says, me and church are just Facebook friends. And also here is it's pretty lengthy, but this person says, I tried for years to become a pastor, even in the Presbyterian church. After studying and giving much to the last church I was in, they denied me my pastor's license because of the appearance of evil, since I had a close friendship with a male head pastor. After the service was planned and friends invited and were notified, I felt accused for just being female. That was my crime. Please ask David how he feels about that, and has he seen this happen to other women?
Well, yes, of course. We see it all the time. I mean, yeah, That's too bad. I'm sorry about your story. That's very sad and it's very upsetting. And but you're not alone. There's a lot of women identify with that. That just because they're female, they're not. They're like second-class citizens in the church. Now, this isn't true across the board. Of course, there's denominations and so on that are very supportive, and it's all equal. And but generally speaking, what I've seen out there and what a lot of women experience is just feeling second-class citizens and inequality and so on. And yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's terrible. But yeah, the reason I was laughing is, have I seen it? Yes, I see it all the time.
You know, one of my favorite cartoons is the one that has a picture, the outline of the church with the steeple, the cross, and it has the male symbol, and it says, "Is everybody here? Okay, let's vote." And all the female symbol is on the outside, and you know, we can vote. All the guys are here. Let's vote, and all the females are on the outside looking in.
That was during the papal the voting in of the new pope and everything. So it happens in the Roman Catholic Church, and it happens really across the board, and not just in religion either. It's in culture, in
It is.
American Canadian society too as well. So yeah, very very male dominated. Yeah, patriarchal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are the big hot issues for me, and I love challenging those stereotypes and the traditional ways of thinking and so on. And this is what's so difficult, is for many people to walk away from an anthropological theology, and with all the baggage that's associated with that. The way women are treated and gays and the poor, etc. It just comes with the package. So, but that's part of my effort, is to challenge that every day through my cartoons and so on.
Great. Thank you very much. As a woman, thank you.
There is a cartoon that has a heart, and it says that this heart, which represents love, is greater than the Holy Bible plus church itself. I'm going to hold this up because we are having some problems. But what motivated you to do this way? I thought it was awesome.
Well, it's strange to me that it's just how much people worship this Bible, or worship the church, or elevate these things above basic human rights, and they will that people will embrace their understanding of the Bible, or embrace their understanding of what the church is, and will just exclude people and treat other people as second-class citizens and so on. This, to me, is something that I think needs to be challenged every day. And so, yeah, love is greater than the Bible and the church, and so that's what motivated that. I hear from people every day, right? People send me emails or whatever, messages on Facebook and so on, of the things that they're going through. I get long emails sometimes of people sharing their story, and just what people are enduring for the sake of Bible or theology or the church is just, in my mind, monstrous and very inhumane. And I like challenging that. So,
what does where does your theology come from? Most people in theism say the Bible is their source for their beliefs. Is that still true for you?
That's a really tough question, because I was, when I became a Christian when I was a teenager, I was taken under the wing of a guy who really taught me the Bible. I studied the Bible with pencil crayons, color coded everything. Then I went to Bible college and took Bible and theology. I took a couple of years of Greek. I took a year of Hebrew, and then I went to seminary and I took more years of Greek and more years of Hebrew and Aramaic, and I studied under Dr. Gordon Fee and exegesis. And so I was Bible, 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 Bible. So I was totally in that whole thing, and that for me was the biggest, probably the most traumatic change I had to make in my own life, was freeing myself from a fundamentalist view of the Bible. That for me was the biggest and most traumatic change. And it wasn't until those chains fell off my mind that I was able to start thinking for myself. Now, I don't reject the Bible, but I see it for what it is now. And it's a part of me. It's a part of my history, and it's sewn into, the soil of my education and my knowledge. It's all sewn in, with everything else. And so it's no longer, it used to be the sole source for my theology, but now it's all part and parcel of, it's all folded in the soil, along with a lot of other things such as philosophy and my life and my own thinking. And, I don't know if that helps answer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think Michael Fulford has a comment. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I didn't. I was just sitting up. I do have a something about what you said earlier about people who you see them begin to question, begin to learn, and their brains expand, and then they kind of collapse backwards.
Yes.
I was going to say that as I went through my deconversion process from Christianity, I went through that. I don't think that's a final part of the transition. You just reach a point where you have gotten so far outside of your original comfort zone that you do end up kind of backtracking. But you backtrack and then you kind of regain your strength. You kind of realize once you've already been to this point, you can go further. And at some point, and wherever you stop is where you stop. But that's not a end point. That's where people get to. They do regress, but it's almost like when you start to climb a tree or when you climb a rope, you can only go so high the first time and you have to go back down, and then you just get higher and higher as you work at it.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. I totally agree. Yeah. And what I was actually thinking of a couple of friends of mine who've actually done that, where they've gone back, they were retreated back. And yeah, you're right. They may not stay there because it is, as you know, Mike, and as I know, it's very scary. It's very traumatic letting go of these ideas that, were like central in our thinking. It's terrifying. And we do get to a point where we can handle as much as we can handle and we stop, or maybe we do regress. But then if we do find the strength and the courage, we can proceed onward again. Yeah, totally.
David, the long question that I asked about, it was from a female, it was Esta Ann, about wanting to become a pastor, and then she was denied, I guess, because of the appearance of evil, because of a alleged, improper close friendship with a male head pastor. I guess the powers that be didn't like it. So that was Esta Ann. I want to make sure you knew that. Also, want to ask you, do you believe that? Do you believe in a historical Jesus? He actually was born, lived, taught, whatnot.
I've come to the place now where there's a lot of debate about that, and people are drawing the similarities between Egyptian mythology and mythology in the Middle East, and the similarities with other religions, and the sort of the cross pollination of ideas and mythologies and so on. And I read these things, I listen to these things, and so I've come to the place now where I see that the Bible is a collection of human documents that are trying to explain the mystery of the immaterial or the spiritual or the divine, whatever you want to call it. And that these are a collection of human attempts to describe this mystery. And through story, some history, and so on. And it's the same with the Gospels. I've come to the place where I think there was a person upon which these stories or around which these stories have accumulated, but like you have other scholars like Reza, I believe that's his name, Reza Aslan, is that right? Aslan Reza, Mike? I'm
not sure with that one. I know Robert Price, Richard Carrier.
Anyways, he was a Christian. He was a Muslim, became a Christian, and now he's an atheist. But he's written this book. I think it's Aslan Reza on the historical Jesus, and then Ehrman, Bart Ehrman. He, even though he demythologizes, say, the Gospels and the stories there, believes that there was a historical Jesus and so on. So there's a lot of debate around it. So I see the Bible as a collection of stories and mythologies of human attempts to describe this incredible mystery, explain it in a metaphorical way that used a historical type of way to tell the story, which was typical for that day. And but that I think these stories about Jesus are, I tend to think, I lean in the way to think that there was a person around which these stories collected. But, that's where I stand.
If you had everything to do over again, that is, to go through 30 years of ministry and you had a chance to do it differently, what would you do?
Gee, boy, what would I do different? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Isn't that funny? I really don't know how to answer. I was ordained in the Presbyterian Church in Canada, served there for as long as I felt I could, and then I left, and then we ended up in the Vineyard Church, and I worked for a time for an international ministry, and then I planted a couple churches and so on. So I don't know. I went through some very horrible experiences as a pastor. I went through a church split. I'd rather not do that again. That was horrible. It was terrible. I became the pastor of this church, Vineyard Church, and then a year later it split right down the middle. That was a nightmare, and I wouldn't want to go through that again. But I don't know how I would do anything different to prevent that. But
Right.
yeah. If you can, I always said to myself, if there was a chance of a church split, I would just walk away. But this was a situation that I couldn't, and that was a horrible experience. So any pastors who've gone through a church split, I hear you, man. That's tough. That's tough.
What kind of projects do you have in front of you?
Well, I'm busy with the sort of the three extensions of what I do, and that's Naked Pastor. I draw a cartoon every day. And I try to keep up on I try to stay in the loop in the Christian world and otherwise. And those, like the LGBTQ, feminism, women's rights, equality, spiritual abuse, what's going on in the Catholic Church, all this kind of thing. The second arm is the Lasting Supper, which I love. That's my kind of my community. And then my art. I'm a painter and a sculptor and things. So these are sort of the three things that I'm doing right now. The one thing I really do miss, though, is speaking face to face with people. Like, I really love being in a room and engaging in dialogue with other people. That's what my sermons were like. I never preached monologue. I always liked dialogue and discussion, and I love that kind of energy, and I miss that a lot. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to develop in the near future, is to maybe start going around to different cities and arranging meetings or coffee shops with people and just hanging out and talking. So that's one thing I would like to do again.
Could you discuss the Lasting Supper with our audience tonight? Because I think that several people would like to become involved in that. If you could give us an example of what it's about.
Well, like I said before, we got cut off there. The Lasting Supper is an online community that I have provided. It's a secure and safe site. It's a membership site. Excuse me. And it's just to help people who want to have a safe space to question or to rant or to explore, to learn how to be spiritually independent, or just independent, or to divest themselves of a more conservative theology and move away from that, or how to leave the church, or even the faith, like whatever. So like I said, we have anywhere from people who are in the church struggling to stay or leave, to people who've left the church, to people who are agnostic or atheists. And there's that wide diversity. It's developed. We have an online forum where we discuss things in depth. I send out an email every day with some thoughts. I send out a letter every week. And we have a secret Facebook group where it's very active. People are becoming friends, and that here and there between members of the Lasting Supper. So, yeah, just a safe place for people to process stuff and to transition spiritually and to be spiritually independent.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. I heard you state many of these things before, and I was curious as to whether you guys had some Google Hangouts and things of that nature.
Well, we have had Google Hangouts in the past, but unfortunately, the Google Hangouts, it's kind of like the experience tonight. Technically, they're just not good enough yet, and so they're just very frustrating. And people were getting cut off, and I was getting cut off, and the thing would crash. And you could have 10 people in Google Hangout, but if one person's connection is bad, then it messes the whole thing up. So I found it very frustrating. So right now we're doing podcasts. I do a Meet a Member podcast once a week where I interview one of the members and we just discuss stuff. And so that's a lot technically a lot safer and more secure, and plus people can listen to it on the go.
All right, we have another comment from Esther Ann. She says, "The Lasting Supper, that's us guys. We rock. The New Covenant group and the Lasting Supper gave me strength to finally accept who I am and move forward."
Yeah, Esther, she's a member of the Lasting Supper. The Riot. Yeah.
She is. She's a cat pistol, I guarantee you. Now, on the Lasting Supper, on that site, it says you have a secret Facebook group. Is that part of the Lasting Supper? I mean, is it called the Lasting Supper?
Yeah, that's a part of the Lasting Supper. You have to be a member to be a part of that. The reason is because a lot of these people want the safety and security and the privacy and anonymity that this group provides. This is the thing I found, and many of them are women, by the way. And this is what I found, is when people have decided that they want to change their theology or drift away from what they've been fed or taught, and maybe even drift away from the church. For what I'm seeing is that that takes a lot of courage, especially in America, in some areas of America. Requires a lot of courage, and they take incredible risks to do that. And I'm finding that a lot of them are young women or younger women who, they want to start thinking for themselves, or they're not interested in the church anymore. They can't find what they're looking for, and they start drifting away. It takes a lot of courage, and they're taking a huge risk. And so we provide a place for them to be able to process this among friends. And so I admire these kind of people, and I just love providing a place for them to do it safely with support.
That's fabulous, David. And also, if people want to buy your art, they can go to nakedpastor.com Etsy, etsy.com, and they can
Right.
see your artwork and
Yep.
purchase it.
Yep.
And Christmas is a coming, and the holiday gift giving season is upon us. And so some of these would make fantastic hint, hint presents. So
Are you giving a hint there
I'm
for
giving it to
yourself?
somebody.
Awesome. Somebody's got to be listening.
Excellent. Bob, what are your final thoughts? We're just about out of time.
Oh, it's awesome to be able to talk with David again. I've joined him, getting to know him even just online, and just can't say enough about his influence. And I think also, we're not just talking about influence as if, hey, do you know who he is? But the healing, the genuine human experience that a lot of people are going through, that there's been a real powerful connection, not just with this community, but with the way that people are able to realize we don't need to gaslight them. We don't need to make them feel like there's something strange with you if you think there's anything wrong with the church. And the powerful healing that we can have to know that this isn't just us, that we're seeing some of these difficulties. To me, I think it is wonderful. It's awesome. I'm so glad that we have David doing this, and I applaud him tremendously.
Well, that's the thing with the cartoons. Like a lot of people say, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was all alone, and this is totally validating. And that's another thing with the Last Supper. People come there and they realize there's hundreds of people like them, and they're actually sane people. They're not crazy, or they're not a cult, or they're not off their rocker or anything. These are smart, intelligent, fun, courageous people, and so that's right on, Bob.
Christopher, what are your final thoughts?
Well, I think that it's fantastic that the New Covenant group is having David on the show because I think that his position and the position of the New Covenant group dovetail in so many ways. And I think that it's great for New Covenant group to be promoting what David does. And I just would love for there to be more opportunities to bridge what it is that David is doing and what New Covenant group is doing. And that's what I'm
game. I'm game. I'll play with anybody,
I like that. All right.
even you guys. I didn't mean it to sound like that, honest. I didn't.
Sounds good. Michael Fulford.
Yeah, I'm glad to see somebody who pretty much we can agree on. I'm someone, people would probably call me an anti-theist in a lot of ways, but I do enjoy working with people who are religious, but we can agree on most things. I'm mostly interested in moving forward. I just like criticizing people. And and by the way, my show is on at 1:00 our local time, or 2 to 3. I'm sorry. So please criticize me. That was me trying to say come and give me comments so I know what I'm doing wrong. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed talking with David. I'm going to definitely start picking up on the comics.
Cool.
Seems like we agree on most things, and that's fine.
I'm not an anti-theist, but I don't think I'm a theist.
That's fine.
As in the fact, I don't think there's an other, something separate from me sitting in the heavens or somewhere else. Like, I don't like using that word to describe myself, a theist or atheist either. But anyway,
when I
nice
say-
to meet you, Mike and Charles.
Well, what I was going to say is that the reason why I would get described as an anti-theist, I do regularly criticize religion and et cetera, and I can imagine the problems you've had, because even trying to discuss theistic issues with people who were theistic and say, no, I have this slightly different idea, only slightly, about this much, idea on this particular part of the Bible, and I'm surprised I still had eyebrows afterwards.
Oh yeah. No, I get that. I get hate mail all the time, but I think I've become like rhino skin now. I'm pretty immune to it now, but get it a lot.
Well, David, it's been wonderful having you on our show, and we want you to come back soon. We would like to get into all of these cartoons and
Yeah, I'd love
much of
to.
the art, and By the way, someone wanted to know how much are your T-shirts?
You know what? I'm putting this out there. I need a products manager. I'm too busy to sell my stuff, so I'm always creating, but I suck at marketing and selling stuff. So if anybody's out there who is a genius at selling stuff online or at whatever, please talk to me. I'll share profits with you, honestly. But I think the T-shirts are like around $20 or something, and they're on Cafe Press or Spreadshirt or Zazzle or somewhere. I don't even know. I'm sorry, but they're somewhere on there. And just Google Naked Pastor, and it's everywhere. So good luck finding the T-shirts.
If they want it bad enough, they'll find it.
Yeah, they'll find it. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, it's been wonderful having you on the show.
Well, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to coming back, actually. I would like to talk about certain cartoons and answer some questions. So I really enjoyed it. Nice to meet you guys, too.
Okay. Hey, you have a good evening, and this has been The Place, and we've had some fun tonight.
We have. I think Joey's going to make a last comment.
Yeah, he always likes to
I
have
know.
the last
What's up
comment.
with that? This is not his show.
Yeah, it's OCD or something like that.
Hey, control
Yeah.
freak.
Yeah, he has a problem. Just go for it. Here's Joey.
Okay. Hey, guys. All right. It's been a great evening, and we want to thank David Hayward for coming on to. Let me start that over again. We want to thank the Naked Pastor for coming on and bearing his soul to us. And we're sorry for the technical difficulties, and we want to thank everybody for their patience. We'll see you Wednesday for the Unconventional Pastor and Dr. Jones to follow, and Sunday, of course, from 10 to 10. We'll do it all again. And until then, we love you, and we'll see you next time.